hear you. You're wrong. I can't
James
hear you.
White said it's about the lore and the connection.
James White's wrong too. Okay, James White's wrong too. This product is about new players, and you can't tell me otherwise. I mean it.
Well, welcome back, everyone, to Reaction Phase, your Monday morning Flesh and Blood podcast. I hope you're having yourself a fantastic day. When you're listening to this right now, I'll be mowing my lawn. So if you're listening in the morning on Monday,
and if I'm left to edit this podcast, it may be a Monday afternoon podcast because I messed up the audio
last week.
Yeah.
Did you mess up
you
the
had
audio?
no idea. Yeah.
I did not.
Yeah,
I didn't listen to it. How did you mess up the audio that I sent you?
I just screwed it up. When I sent it, it was like echoing or something. I realized I'd copied and pasted. I left a bunch of blanks. It was bad. It was bad.
Nice.
It was bad. So it went out at like noon.
I'll continue to edit it in the future. Sorry about that last week, everyone. But hey, we're so glad that you're here. Reaction Phase, Josh from Hometown TCG. Make sure you go and subscribe to Josh's channel at some point today. And those of you who are watching on my YouTube channel, thank you so much. Make sure you hit like and hit subscribe on my channel as well. Bringing you a daily Flesh and Blood content and a weekly podcast. Josh and I were just talking about how much fun it is to be consistent in this community and how it's just fun. So it's cool to chat about some things. So buddy, you ready to go for today?
Dude, I was born ready. Are you ready to smash? I'm gonna do it again. I did this joke earlier. My wife made me buy Fruit Smash.
Wow. So. I'm drinking Arnold Palmer today. Everything in my life is telling me to start golfing. All my friends started golfing.
Golf is amazing.
I used to golf like a lot, and like everything in my life's telling me lately to start golfing more. So this might become a golf podcast at some point. Anyway, let's continue.
Louis, let's tell them where they can find this podcast.
Today, we're going to talk about Classic Battles, the new product that's coming out. We're going to talk about some random things going on. There's just like a lot of hodgepodge of things going on. And then we're going to talk about one of the things that I think is the best way that LSS is currently helping local game stores. One of the big ways that they are doing, maybe it's not the best, but the TCG Player Uprising campaign, something that not a lot of people have talked about and I wanted to chat about. And then we will talk about the market. Josh has some spicy stuff for the market today.
I do. I have something for the market. I normally
you didn't tell me what it is.
I know. Oh. I like to keep things from you and then tell you live on camera.
I love it.
It's more fun that way for me. Yeah. But you still haven't told people where they can find this podcast. And since they're clearly not listening to you right now, they have no idea where it can be found at this very moment.
Every other week we post on alternating channels. So make sure you go subscribe to Josh's channel on YouTube. But then also we are on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. So
when are you just going to move to Chicago and create a content house with me?
I have a content house here. You should just move here. I have
a content house here.
I have 3 locations of which I will be making content for. No,
ladies and gentlemen, let him know in the comments that he should move to the heartland of America, Chicago, Illinois.
Gosh,
Mrs. Louie,
don't tell
Mrs.
people that Chicago is the heartland of America. Other countries listen to this podcast. They don't need to think that.
Yeah, they need to know. The people deserve to know. What are we starting with today, Louis?
All right, let's talk about Classic Battles.
You're distracting me.
Let's talk about Classic Battles. There's a lot going on with this product, man. We talked about it a little bit, but it's going to be in hands this week. I actually have it for pre-order for patrons. Like some people ordered it. It's definitely one of those weird, interesting products. It's like I don't know what to do with it, and I don't think anybody else does either. Rudy put his video out today, and he was like talking about how limited it was. That has not been my experience. This is the first Flesh and Blood product that I didn't get. I don't think I got allocated on. I got way more than I thought that I was gonna get, which is great. Like I'm all for more product. Yeah, I don't know. Like it seems like there's like a lot of what is this product? What's going to happen? It's kind of like the history packs, right? Like nobody really fully understands who the product is for. Obviously there's like exclusive. We don't have a deck list yet. I don't know. I'm stoked. For this week to see what's actually in it so that we can actually say this is who this product's for. I don't. It's like I don't know what to do with my hands. Like LSS is like, I don't know what to do with my hands. This is a product. Like, I don't know. What are your thoughts?
No, okay. So I've got some takes on this product, and I've said it's on blue in the face, and I think I'm gonna. Normally, I have these takes, and then up at the as release hits, I'm like, I go back and listen to some of them, and I'm like, those might have been some cold takes, but I'm just correct on this one. Okay. This is going to be a really cool, like, flesh and blood in a box experience for two friends at a local game store. And the fact that you started this by saying that you're a better game store than Rudy is not only bold,
I didn't
but
say that.
you did. You're like, Rudy he said he's got allocated. I didn't get allocated. I'm clearly superior. I think that's a direct quote.
Rudy got
It's a direct
350 of them. I got like 48.
Well, did you ask for 350? Anyway, glossing over the fact that you claim that you're a better game store than Rudy behind the scenes and now in front of the American and overseas population.
Never did that.
I really think this is a cool experience for people to buy into this game in a way that you and I have become more and more passionate about over the last couple months. Me more so than you. You've been singing this song from the top of the mountain first, and I've recently joined you up there. It's the new player experience. It's the new player and casual player experience. In my opinion, it's a really cool, I guess, product to be able to buy this, open the box, and play the game. Now we don't know if in there is like no instructions as to how to play the game, nothing. It's literally just 2 blitz decks and nothing else, and I guess the map and the mat and stuff like that. But if it contains anything that helps two people go to their game store, buy this product, and play a game of Flesh and Blood with one another, I'm all in. And I can already see in your face. I know the price is not great. I understand that we wanted a different price point, but this is the price point that it exists at.
I have spoken my piece on that.
Okay, well, this is the price point it exists at, and I think it's going to help. So I'm all in on this product. I'm excited to get my hands on it. I'm actually planning some content this week around playing the 2 decks against each other, getting a feel for them, chatting through the experience. No, I mean, I got a local player to do. We're doing it in person. If you would move to Chicago and create the content house, then yeah, you'd be all in.
So I like, let's go to the price real quick, and so we can get over it. Like the price,
I'm over it. I have been over it. Okay.
The price is fine. I think that this ends up less expensive than it currently is, in my opinion. In my opinion, this is going to end at around like a $35 product. Here's the issue.
Okay, while you talk, go ahead.
Most of the orders that I have had and most of the conversations I've had with people have been questioning, should they order 3 as a result of there being exclusive cards in the deck? And so if this is really going to be if it's going to be a product for new players, then you've got old players who are ordering multiple of so that they have a play set of the cards. That it's just weird. It's just Rudy saying that it's, it's very tightly allocated. I don't know if that's just because my relationship, my distribution is moving forward now, and I've started ordering more product, and this is a result of that. I don't know if this means that less stores are ordering this product as a result of there being more or less stores. I don't know if there is, like, I don't fully understand why. This is the first time that I wasn't allocated on a Flesh and Blood product.
Okay. So I have
maybe I asked them for a more realistic number for once. Like, there's just like a lot of variables that you don't know. But the point is, this product's going to be super interesting. The biggest point of contention I think that I wish was different was I wish we had a deck list at this point, because I think that would allow us to know what people are buying. Like, I hear people complaining all the time, like, I don't know what I'm ordering. I don't know what I'm pre-ordering. I don't know if this is I don't know if I need 3 of them. I don't know if I need 1 of them. I don't know what I'm ordering. And maybe
you need 1.
You think?
Here's what you're ordering, and maybe I can clear this up. And this is the way I'm envisioning the product, and hopefully I don't become that meme with the shattering glass behind me.
Are you James White now? You got to get better.
I am not. No, I am not. He is in much better shape than I am too. Which is, there's so many things that makes James White better than me. But let's not get into it. I don't want to become the meme of the glass shattering behind me when this product turns out not to be this. But I'm going to put myself out there right now. You're ordering. You need to order 1 or 2 if you're giving them to players or whatever. This product is a play experience in a box. And the reason I don't think deck lists are important, you're talking about this. I want to know a deck list. How many do I have to order? Our competitive players. I don't. Our competitive players, our competitive scene is awesome. You guys are great, and they're going to do what they're going to do. but I'm not talking to them right now. You can put your headphones on, listen to some music, wait for me to finish, whatever you got to do. I'm not talking to you right now. This is for the new players. I am all about the competitive scene, the people trying to grind it out, but this is not for you. And if you need cards out of this, then sure, you got to find a way, trade, buy, secondary market, whatever it is. When you order this product, if you order this sealed box off the shelf, you're buying a play experience. That's what you're purchasing. Now, whether that play experience is balanced well, both the decks play well together, it's not complicated or convoluted for new players, that's to be seen. But you're not buying into the singles in this box. That is not the product you're purchasing. You are purchasing the play experience and the entry level, the entrance into Flesh and Blood, our community in this awesome game. And again, that's the way I'm seeing this product. Now, can that be cannibalized? And it's like, oh, a brand new staple that's needed for play is in this deck, so everyone's got to buy a bunch of it, and then maybe the new players get to buy it and trade it and sell it and buy new stuff, whatever it might be. Sure, that could be the case, but I'm not there yet, and I don't want to get there. I don't want my world to be broken yet.
Okay, so you're what you want it to be is
no. I truly think that's what it's going to be.
So like here's what Rudy marketed it as, and like again, I haven't had a conversation with James White. Rudy has about what is this product. Like I haven't, we haven't heard anything. We haven't whatever. But he talked about how there's 2 cold foils in it. He talked about how it's not for that the IRA welcome decks are the decks for the new players. He talked about that it's limited in supply, that kind of stuff. That's all we know about this product, and that's what makes me nervous. I fully believe you, and I fully agree that this will be an incredible entry into Flesh and Blood. If you want to purchase, if you have $50 and you're like, I want to hop into Flesh and Blood, this seems like a really great product to do that. I agree.
I think that's what it's going to end up being. I think it's going to be there for the long term. Remember, we talked about History Pack being tightly allocated right now and hard to come by. I think this might be right now, but over the long. We get waves
of this.
Yeah. I don't think it goes. I don't think we definitely don't get an out of print announcement anytime soon, right? Definitely are getting waves of this product, especially if it proves to not only move, but it proves like, hey. Well, what have we talked about before? Game stores who have lost faith in Fab. If you're a game store, how do you make Fab a core pillar of your business, right? And maybe it wasn't before. This is kind of that nudge in the doorway of a product that can sit on your shelves and can present itself as attractive to a lot of people, whether they're in the game, whether they're not in the game yet.
It's a cheaper option than buying a case of booster boxes for a store. They can buy 2 or 3 of these and have them on the shelf. That's good. I agree with that.
100%. And the more time you see Fab, Flesh and Blood, that name up there next to Magic the Gathering, next to Pokemon, I think that's always healthy. So I really think this product is going to be that. You're right, though. I'm not disagreeing with you. If this comes out and it's like we can't get our hands on it, and it's like they're all bought up right away, and none of the new players have a chance to stumble across Flesh and Blood, that's not great.
So let me ask you this. Let's pretend. First off, let me ask you this question: at the LGSs that you visit and that you are around, are there IRA welcome decks around for new players? Is that something that they have in stock and available for new players to play?
Nope.
How many LGSs in Chicago do you go to?
3.
Okay, and none of them have IRA welcome decks around for new players.
No, we've built a couple decks. I know MinMax, Sam Dando, shout out Sam, has built a lot of like Commoner decks and stuff that they keep sleeved behind the counter, and they always help teach people how to play. Nerd Rage Gaming, way back when, John and I built a bunch of decks and just gave them to them to like put behind the counter, teach people how to play. Gift of Games does a great job. They do the same thing, stuff like that. But Gift of Games is the only one that I remember having the IRA welcome decks and a play like station out. So they had a designated table with the double-sided mat, the 2 decks sitting there and the heroes laid out to like sit there and play the game. But that would be the only one. And now at this point, I would say none. Yeah.
So that has been my experience as well. And I haven't like called up my distribution and asked them for an IRA welcome deck package, but I know I can't order them they're not part. When I go to order Flesh and Blood, they're not in stock and they're not something to order. So again, I don't particularly need that. That's not something that my store needs. I have a billion decks to give people. I have more commons from Flesh and Blood than I have from Magic the Gathering and Pokemon. Like I am a entrenched store, so that's not an issue for me.
Right.
I think that everyone keeps talking about this and maybe they have those IRA decks that they have asked for. But that being said, my point is that this is not a welcome product, in my opinion, and that's not what they want it to be.
Okay.
Now let me ask you a second question. Are you all in on the idea that there are exclusive cards in this deck? Again, we don't know what the cards are, but are you all in on the idea?
We know there's exclusive cards in this deck, based on the Yes.
Yeah, no, I know that. We don't know what the cards are.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
Are you all in on the idea of, let's say they have a 1 or 2 off of a Majestic? Do you think that is a pro or a con to a product like this?
So there's factors there, and on the base, that's a tough question, because if we're in the realm where you and I are talking about this product being harder to come by, the possibility of the product harder to come by. If the product, if we're correct, if Rudy's correct, I should say, and the product is, allocated and it's harder to come by, then that's just clearly a con in my opinion, because we have so many awesome members of the community that will soak those up, right, and will want to buy them. And as a new player, there's part of that experience, and why I think this is better than the IRA Welcome deck for new players is going into a store and having the IRA Welcome deck experience, and then having something given to you for free is awesome. But at the same time, you don't like care for it, and there's nothing special about that. You don't look at a card. When you look at a cold foil as you're going to in this product, you're going to feel something toward, like, I know this card is special. My buddy Steve just bought into Flesh and Blood for the first time. I didn't know he was doing it. And he sent me a picture of Crown of Reflection cold foil. He goes, "This is badass. What is this?" And I was like, see, you just have that feeling. So if this product is tightly allocated, then all that is going to be consumed by people already in Flesh and Blood. If it's not, that's not a problem. If you can get this product as much as you want, then I don't care that there's unique cards in there. In fact, I'm kind of a fan of it, because even though those cards are readily available and players can get them anytime they want, new players are going to feel special when they see this card only comes in this product. They're gonna have that feeling. They're gonna have that attachment.
Yeah, I think that's all fair. I hope that there is very good. I think let's pretend like what we know is that there is a Dorinthia specialization in this deck. That's what we know. I don't think we know what the card does, right?
No, I don't think so. I think we just saw some blurry text.
I hope that the card is great and that it's used in Dorinthia. I hope that because this is a Blitz deck, there is a Blitz playset of 2 in each deck, and not just 1, but 2 of the cards in the deck. And on top of that, I hope that the card, it's not going to be, never mind, I shouldn't even say that.
It could be a legendary specialization, right? Where it's 1 of index.
Oh, that's true.
So that's a possibility.
Yeah. I was going to say, I hope that the card is printed in Uprising, but that won't be the case because neither Brute or Warrior is in Uprising. My Shadow
Brute take is
I guess my biggest fear, and again, like full trust in LSS, this is where I wish we had more information, right? Like I wish they came out and they were like, look, this is going to be in print. This is going to be regularly available. And one of the issues in Flesh and Blood, in my opinion, is that we have not seen products that are readily available for stores, right? Everything is, you order, it goes out of print. And then sometimes we just got more waves of Tales of Aria Blitz displays. Like this past week, or 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, distribution was like, hey, we got more Tales of Aria Blitz decks. And it's like, okay, all of a sudden there is that waves. And so like we're starting to get that. So we don't know what that looks like. We don't have a track record. I think I would like to see this product readily available so that those cards don't jack up in price and then cause people to look at them at like commander decks where you're buying up the deck just to sell the card
to TCG Player slot. Yeah, like, and like that's my concern for a deck like this. Now hopefully that it's just ample supply. I think it's great if it's on shelves. I think
a $35 price point, I don't think that this is a product that I want to see LGSs being able to like take a ton of profit on. Like I think this is a product that, first off, I'm an LGS, so that's me saying like I don't think like this is a product that I want to look at as like a money maker for my store. I want to look at this product as something that I constantly have in stock so that when a new player comes in, I can sell it to them at a minimal markup, 10, 15, 20%.
Right.
And get them entrenched in this game, get them entrenched in the product, and get them excited about it. My concern, and based on the community that I've talked to and based on the orders that I have, is a lot of people are buying 2, 3, 4 of these
to get the singles,
guaranteeing that they have a play set. We don't know what the cards are in the list yet. Guaranteeing that they have a play set, making sure they have a sealed product, and also wanting to collect and invest in the cold foils and flip them online. So there's a lot of that I think could have been solved again with more communication up front about what is actually in this product. I think a lot of that would go out the door if you knew that there were 2 of the Dorinthia thing. So I don't know. I'm excited about the product. I'm super excited to play the 2 decks against each other. I think that's going to be a really, really cool experience. Magic the Gathering Dual Decks is my favorite Magic the Gathering product of all time. I've always wanted to buy the anthology box. I'm going to do that tonight. I'm going to buy the Magic the Gathering Dual Deck anthology box.
You guys just made Louis irresponsibly spend his money. Way to go.
But like, I think this is a really great product as long as it's readily available for the consumer that I personally think that it should be for.
So we land on the same side of this argument, and we have different ways of saying it and different things that are important to us. But our core value here, I think, which it's weird that we as a podcast have a core value too. Normally we differ on core values. You know what I mean? So this is kind of cool. The core value of this podcast, I believe we can firmly say, is we want this thing on shelves and readily available. Like there should never be a time that a new player hears about Classic Battles, knows their local game store is a Flesh and Blood store, goes down to their local game store, puts N dollars that don't matter because we said price we're not going to talk about on the counter and says, I want Classic Battles. I heard about it. I'm going to play Flesh and Blood with my homie back home. And the game store clerk should never say, oh, we're out of that. And if they do, it's we're out of that. We're getting more in our weekly order next week or whatever it is. Or I can order some more from distribution. I'll have it for you in 2 days or whatever it might be. So if that's the case, I think if that's the case, this product is a home run. And the reason is Flesh and Blood decks can sit on the shelf in perpetuity, provided these 2 heroes never living legend out, right? These decks can sit on your shelf for years and years and years, and anyone who gets into the game can bring a friend to a game store, pick one up, lay it out, and play Flesh and Blood. And you and I, Louis, we know once you play Flesh and Blood, you're like, there's something here. You'll hear all the chirp about the market and the highs and the lows and the tendies and the future, and it's all dead and it's thriving, and you'll hear all that. But then you'll sit down in your little bubble and you'll play the game. You're like, ooh, I'm going to do this more. Like, I'm going to do this way more. And that's what we need, right? We need like, it's the fish hook. And I think it's a good one.
For the record, if you're looking to pick up this product, do not spend $58 currently on TCG Player. You can go to captainsmarket.com where I have them for $45, a much more price. So, and I am saving, for the record, a case that I will have at my shop for new players who come in the door, for the record. But anyway,
I asked about price. I'm glad I didn't say what price you could get it at.
$58 on TCG Player.
Wow, that's okay, but not at
but it's pre-sale. It's pre-sale and it's it's not out yet. So we'll see what happens. I do not think you should be paying that price for this product though.
Oh my gosh, isn't it crazy that the Flesh and Blood community is going to be new to this? You mentioned we haven't seen a Flesh and Blood set that's been printed in perpetuity, right? Or that you can get multiple orders of from distribution. Maybe something that comes in waves.
Well, Unlimited was kind of like that, but there was like Unlimited Tales certainly is like that. You can get
yes.
Trust me, if you want to buy Unlimited Tales, they've got some for you.
Also, if you'd like to buy a soda, you can buy a soda for $30, and Louis gives you a free case. Louis Fireball gives you a free case of DuckTales of Mario Unlimited.
WTR Unlimited for a time was like that, and it's not currently available anymore from one of the distributor I'm looking at right now. But
this notion of pre-sale, right, being like high, and then the product is released, and then it goes, and then
that's every Flesh and Blood product since Monarch for the record.
But then things come back up and settle. Look at Everfest. So Everfest is a cool example of this because it's almost like you've been able to get it in waves because it hasn't run out or anything like that yet. There's no unlimited, right? And it's all the same product. And then we saw things like the Pro Tour change the price of things like Potion of Deja Vu, right? Cold foil Potion of Deja Vu. So when you bought this product, the prices are changing. They're constantly moving on this product right now. But when it came out, it went down, and now it's kind of coming up and settling where it belongs. Uprising's going to be the same way because of the no unlimited, much like Everfest has no unlimited yet. Knock on wood. It's going to be the same way.
I want to see an official announcement from LSS because we got this Rudy conversation with James White via Rudy crying. Sorry, that was extreme. Via Rudy
extreme.
He was had tears. Listen,
the man had seen some stuff. The man had seen some things.
I felt that video deeper than any other video, any other movie. I felt sad and sorry for Rudy.
I had this connection. I'm with you. So I watched that video and I was cleaning my basement.
Too,
I was being emotional. I was like, don't you do this to Rudy. Don't you dare.
I cried too, Rudy. I was there with you. Anyway,
I did. Rudy, I got emotional.
It was Rudy and his phone call with James White reading back to us on his chicken scratch notebook from his phone call with James White, and he's like, Uprising or Everfest Unlimited, we put it on the website just to stop stores from asking us about it. And
was it September?
We're not gonna, when September comes, we're not gonna put it out if necessary. Distribution is still taking pre-orders for it, so I don't know what is happening.
You know what just hit me right now?
What?
When that came, and maybe it's because I was with you, I was very in my feels. I didn't realize how far away September was. We'll have a new Flesh and Blood product. We'll have up. I didn't put together in my head. We'll have the next set when they're releasing Everfest Unlimited. That I didn't understand that. Wow, that's crazy. I don't think we're gonna get it.
Everfest booster boxes are still pretty readily available. I don't think you can get them from distribution. I certainly can't get them from distribution. I don't know if larger stores.
You're not as good of a game store as Rudy. I said it from the beginning.
But it's seemingly an endless supply of stores who get them and put them on TCG Player because every day there's more.
Which is cool. So that's going to be needed. And if Unlimited? Classic Battles, just the ability to buy booster boxes at map. Or at an affordable price. And the reason is, if this product does what I want it to do, and again, I am ready to be the fall person. I have said it from the time this product was announced. I am ready to be the fall guy for Classic Battles. I will stand in front of this product and take all of the arrows. I will be that fall guy because if needed, we need those boxes available for players once they get hooked on Classic Battles. We need that. And I think the fact that they're going to be affordable as this product comes out is important.
I have always been a major fan of Classic Battles, and I completely agree with you. You can't hear me right now, but I completely agree with you. I just wanted it to be $35. That's
you said you're not talking about the price.
I know. I'm just saying, I want the record to show on this podcast because you may not have watched my previous 1,000 videos that I've talked about this.
You make videos?
Mind you, the professor also said this in an interview with another content creator that the price point was a miss. So I don't want to call myself the professor. What's right below professor? Like a adjunct?
The adjunct professor? I don't know.
Let's just move on. Let's talk about random things going on in Flesh and Blood.
While Josh turns on his headphones that hopefully are not out of battery.
Oh, gosh. Boom. Are we working? Can you hear me? Testing. ABC. Oh, they don't work. That's all right. You're just going to have to deal.
I just don't want people to hear my echo. I got you coming through my speakers right now.
I don't think they can hear me.
Let's go.
You should get some real headphones. You can look like a dork like me.
There we go. Tell me you love me.
No. All right, I want to talk about let's talk about some random stuff. Number one, there's been some spoilers come out, and why we didn't put this in the classic battles conversation, because we don't fully know. We assume that these are in classic battles, but some of them might not be. Number one,
like pretty gosh darn safe assumptions.
Okay.
Assumptions.
Well, we don't know for sure, and we
might not have done it just because that's a miss on our part, guys. That just might be a miss.
Here's one of them. Why didn't it pop up? Here's one of them.
Oh, there it is. Oh, there it is. Oh,
Blossom of Spring. Oh, wait, I already had it up here. Boom. Blossom of Spring. All right. I want your takes because I know mine.
So, everyone's take right now. I don't fall on the bandwagon of strictly better Tunic.
Is that everyone's take? Because that was my take, and that would put me in like the realm of
no. You're the majority.
Else.
You're the majority. I'm not. First of all, it doesn't block for anything. Second of all, we just got a statement from LSS about the notion of dragging out is the wrong word. That sounds super negative. Of extending the life of blitz games. They don't want blitz games to be this hyper fast gameplay. They want to make the
opposite of that.
No, they want them to not go less than like 4 turns or something. They said in the article.
Yeah, but this doesn't block, and it's faster than Tunic and more effective. Well, more effective than Courage of Bladehold because it's generic and not just for weapons.
But I mean, Courage of Bladehold does block too, which in Blitz is
but I'm saying for speed. For speed, it doesn't matter if you're going to block or not.
I mean, it does because you don't die. And you're able to continue playing the game. So I see these are cold takes. These are cold takes, in my opinion. There's a reason. I mean, there's a reason tectonic plating is just it's an armor. Why is Skullcap so good? It's a headpiece that blocks for 2. Like that's incredible, and it's run all over the place in Blitz. Why? Because it offers 3 block throughout the course of a game. Like that's just incorrect. So if LSS delivers on the design to draw Blitz games out to be 3, 4, 5 turns, right? If the meta trends in that direction, not only does this not block, it's a one-off charge. I saw someone somewhere talking about it getting around Frostbite token. It's still an action. It still costs something to activate. So it's a bad take there. The good take is you can't forget about putting a Tunic counter down, which is stick. So you're playing the living daylight out of this, I'm sure. And it's also an action, not an instant. Tunic is an instant, remember, to get that resource. This is an action.
That's a good point. Yeah.
So
this is aggro, though. I mean, this is aggro. If you're running an aggro, deck like Chain, this is all day, right? All day for Chain. Maybe even not even in Blitz. Maybe even in
no. Aether Ironweave blocks for 1 and satisfies a similar condition. Like in something that it's got a condition to it, but it's something that's so easy for Chain to meet. Like that's just going to happen. Like, no. And you definitely don't run this over Husk. Like Husk, I don't know what happened and why people forgot this. Husk is one of the best cards in this game. Everyone's like, oh, this card's oppressive. This card's oppressive.
Because the game's
Husk is one of the most oppressive cards in this game. That's all I gotta say.
Is it because it's too fast?
This card?
No, I'm talking about is because Blitz too fast. Is that a result of people not running things like Husk because they're just trying to race?
I think people are running Husk and Blitz if you're playing Chain Blitz.
Oh, you're saying, but running, you're talking about not using this over Chain, over.
You're not using this over Husk. There's the argument if you're playing against like something like Guardian or something that's never going to attack you or a Kano or something like that. Sure, you're 100% correct. This could find a spot in the side deck. I don't know why you would run this over something like Aether Ironweave. Does something similar. It rewards the resource. It requires a condition, the non-attack and attack action be met. But in Chain, that's like having a turn. So and it does block for 1. So to me, it's strictly better. Aether Ironweave's just strictly better there. But I don't know. This card's cool. It's a new player card. It's really cool for players to be able to interact with the resource with. I don't think we're going to see a ton of this card all over the place in Blitz. And maybe this is my star of the show take of this set. Maybe I'm just so horribly wrong, but I don't get it.
I will tell you where you will see this card completely and utterly dominating the format.
Commoner.
If it's common. We don't know if it's common or not.
I think it's a common.
It's a promo. It's promo on the thing we know.
Oh, that's right. The one we see is that's right. Maybe it's not. Oh no.
But this should be the
rare or worse.
Well, so this is the question: is this uprising or is it in the Blitz in the classic?
This is in the Blitz product.
We don't know that. If it's uprising, then this is certainly going to be a common because there's going to be common cold foils because it's a main set.
No,
right?
It's an up. So the June Armory kit.
I know. I understand. I know what you're like. I know that this is, but it doesn't really fit. I guess it kind of would be a great card in Brute, but it doesn't.
The June Armory kit is called Classic Battles.
I know.
Okay.
Listen, I know that's this whole take. The hotter take.
That would be the biggest.
That would be the biggest okey doke. They're giving us a spoiler. I guess the promo, it wouldn't be a cold foil. You're right. It's got to be in the kit.
That would be an okey doke. If they pulled that on us, dude, and they were like, "Oh, psych, got him." I think this is in both decks. It's generic. I think you're going to see this chess piece in both decks.
Wow, there's a take.
Well, it's the only cold foil promo in the armor kit. Why would they reward one over the other?
That's a good take.
I think that's a fantastic take. And you know what? Come back in a week. Back in a week.
No, they're all about the whole thing's about lore. Why would a Brute have on a Blossom of Spring? That makes no sense.
Why would a warrior have on a Blossom of Spring?
Well, I don't know. That's why I think it's an uprising.
What? Boo this man. Boo. What?
I'm okay with this being my bad take for the day. The comment section's like, what about this take and that take?
What about the other one? I was about to say, hey, if you only have one a day, you're doing better than me. We
also got this. We also got Bone Visor, which is maybe this is a bad take too, but maybe the coolest piece of artwork we've ever seen on a Flesh and Blood card. Do you have it pulled up? You can't see it.
No, I do.
It's pretty cool artwork. It's definitely unique and different.
It's not
like
bad,
it definitely gives us some like different lines of like what brutes are all about.
I don't.
Like, is that a brute or is that a human?
Did you just say maybe the best piece of artwork we've ever seen on a Flesh and Blood equipment?
I think it's sweet.
I gotta disagree. Like, have you looked at Storm Striders? Like, have you taken like a peek at Storm Striders?
Terrible artwork.
What are you talking about? You are. I will not boo you twice in one podcast, but know that I want to.
I don't think I've actually looked that deeply at Storm Striders.
It's so good. Mask of the Pouncing Lynx is really good artwork too.
And that one doesn't fit for me. I think Flesh and Blood artwork from WTR and Arcane, particularly the equipment artwork and the weapon artwork, is kind of not good. Like, it's just like, I was never a fan, and this is we are way in the weeds. This is random things going on. This is what's going on in our podcast. I was never a fan of the like the weapons just being like a weapon floating in midair. Like, I like the idea like the weapon is in combat or like seeing.
You want to go further down the weeds? Go look at a cold foil in Nothos. The only cold foil on it is the straps around the big wooden hammer. It's horrible. Like, you're like, oh man, you have a cold foil in Nothos. Like, it is. Let's just call it so not great. Cold foil Talishar. The rust is cold foil.
So
anyway, sorry.
I think I like Bone Visor artwork because two things. Number one, I really like playing at what is this type of thing called I can't remember what it's called, but like a
is it a necromancer?
No, like a
witch
shaman,
doctor.
Like a witch doctor. Boom.
Yeah.
Witch doctor. That's what I was looking for. Like, I love playing, like, what game was it that I played? Maybe it was one of the Diablos.
I think it was Diablos, one of the Diablos.
You could play as a witch doctor.
Yeah.
Like, that's freaking sweet.
Yeah.
I don't fully understand how this is a brute though. It's got human hands. So
I'm kind of a brute.
I guess maybe the brutes have human witch doctors to cure them. I don't know. I don't fully understand this. Hopefully the lore book gives us some more info on whoever this guy is, but let's talk about the card.
You're weirdly connected to the lore, and I'm just reading this card. This whole
product is supposed to be about the lore.
This
The
whole
whole
product
thing.
is about the new player, and nobody can tell me otherwise. You can
No,
keep
that's what
screaming these
then
things.
tell that
Keep
to
screaming
James
these things in
White.
my face. La 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 la. I can't hear you. You're wrong. I can't
James
hear you.
White said it's about the lore and the connection.
James White's wrong too. Okay, James White's wrong too. This product is about new players, and you can't tell me otherwise. I mean it. You cannot tell me otherwise. James White can't tell me otherwise. Ellen Hale might be able to tell me otherwise because that guy's awesome, but nobody can tell me otherwise. Let's talk about what the card does. What's the card do, Louis? Come on, man.
Gosh,
killing me.
You are so right about. You're so right. All right, let's go.
That's the nicest thing.
Alan's the GOAT. Like everyone just needs to know that right now. Alan is the GOAT, and you're 100% right. Bone Riser.
Million tangents I'd pick. That's the one. Like, yeah, I'll go down this road.
Alan's
all the other
favorite.
ones I'm out, but this one.
I'm not. I guess I'm allowed to play favorites on LSS staff. I have nothing to lose. Alan Hale is my favorite LSS staff member.
Oh, am I in trouble? Did I get myself in trouble?
I don't know. You're on a podcast with me, so I'm sure you're already kind of in trouble. But
only with my wife.
When Bone Visor is destroyed, reveal the top card of your deck if it has 6 or more power. Super creative here for brutes. Put it on the top of your deck, otherwise put it on the bottom.
Okay, so on the surface, we talked about this a little bit before the podcast. On the surface, I was like, weird mechanic. But there's so many brute things that are like, oh, draw and discard a card, right? It's nice now to be able to draw, discard, block out, and keep enough resources to do your one attack that lets you draw and discard to try to get Intimidate or Dominate or Go or whatever it might be. So this card does fit in there. I think it's super budget. I think it's super cool. It's a neat mechanic for brute. I gotta tell you, I was not super hyped on this. I'm trying to sell myself on it, and it's the live sales not going well. I still gotta say I'm kind of cold on this card.
Sorry, I was laughing because I realized I've been calling it Bone Visor the whole time. It's not.
It's Vizier.
It's Bone Vizier.
Well, wait a.
I want a community meme that is Bone Visor and this card made to look like a visor instead of Vizier.
But what you just did is you leaked one of the cards from the Rudy 6.9 year special. It's the Bone Visor. If you know it's the, what is it? What does he always say? The stepsister Bone Visor, dude. Good job. Way to go. See, I knew you had deeper connections than this. You were hiding things from me. Rudy, you can tell me things too. It doesn't have to just be Louis.
Oh my
Bone
gosh.
Visor. I'm buying out. I'm quartering the market on Bone Visors. Also, I might take a Sharpie to every copy of this card I ever own and just write Visor on it.
100%. There's going to be an altar. All right.
Oh, can we? Fry the Eggs is the one that does incredible altars. Oh, I need I might commission my first altar. I need a Bone Visor.
Okay, that's the only spoilers I think we've seen. Although there should be more. Oh, we kind of know a couple other things. We know names at least. We can't read one of the. Let me pop up. Where was the? Because in the articles, they kind of put some other cards here.
And while Louis pops up spoilers, I want to remind you that you can pick up this product at cavdeansmarket.com.
Oh gosh.
Maybe. Is it www? I know that there was a problem with that.
It works. It works. Okay. No, that's only George's websites that don't work.
Who's that? Who's George?
Let's not talk about George. Okay, so we know Wrecking Ball is another one, which we had to look this up because we were like, don't we already know that card? And it's not. You have all the Wrecking cards in Flesh and Blood. So yes. Wrecking Ball, which when you attack with Wrecking Ball, draw a card, then discard a random card. If a card is 6 or more is discarded of the way. Intimidate. Sorry, I couldn't. I guess the comma should have been anyway. Seems like a good card.
Don't criticize the grammar on the card. Read the card and do some analysis. Stay in your lane.
I was confused.
Get back in your lane.
I'm not criticizing. I was just confused.
How much does it cost? It costs 3. How much does it do?
The 3 cost is a lot. We also don't know what it blocks for. I assume because it's brute and because Yazi is probably upset about it, it'll only block for 2.
or 0. It's 0's an option in Brood. Like, don't forget. I mean, this card is weird.
You've got boats. Why can't you give me a card that blocks for 3? You've got boats.
They got boats.
They got boats. Oh god, we gotta get Yazi on the podcast. That'd be amazing.
Oh my goodness. I don't know. This card seems suboptimal. But these are commons probably in this deck. Like, and okay, so hold on.
World go around.
But I mean, they make your world go around. I don't put commons in cases behind me here. You know what I'm saying? I don't make my world go around. What if these are the Majestics? So Wrecking Ball, we both agree, not the best card that we've ever seen printed. We don't look at this, and this card could find some fits, but we don't look at this card and we're like, oh my god, what if these are the Majestics?
They're not.
But what if they are?
They're not, Josh.
But what if they are?
What if they are the Cold Foil Hearts of Fandom? What if they're the Fables? They're not.
They're not. We see that they're not.
What if
the
they're
Cold Foil
actually
Hearts of
Magic
Fandom.
cards? Like they're
Well,
not.
we also see that they're not that. We see that they're Flesh and Blood cards.
I know. All right, they're not going to be the Majestics.
I'm just saying. Okay, so
I love
Majestics
your silly optimism though. Let's
What
just
if the
hope that the
Majestics are
product
great
is
too?
readily available for people. I don't think that that's asking so much. Like,
I think it will
why
be.
is it so hard to ask for product that's readily available?
Which I'm just going to point out, this may be an unfair criticism for us or from us because we're
I'm
both
not
saying the same.
criticizing. I'm just saying that
No.
I hope it is.
It may
There's
be
no
unfair for us to
criticism
keep hammering this because we haven't seen a product since Fab 2.0. And
Right.
you and I were on the same page. We both want it to be, but maybe we're living in a world. We're already living in this world where
Yeah.
that's not a flesh and blood problem anymore, and we don't know it.
Somebody needs
See?
to tell Rudy that so he doesn't say that it is. Like, I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, no, I got you.
That's all the information we have is from Rudy. Like, I don't know what to tell you. All right. The other card we see here is Run Through, which says 16x rainbow foil. One attack gains next
Sword attack.
sword attack. And that's all we know. So it seems like a great card. I think this is going to be the best card in the set. And definitely going to change and shift the meta around.
One attack gains +6. Your next sword attack gains. You win the game. Costs 1.
Perfect.
It is the Fabled. It has Dominate. It's the counter to Starvo. Okay, listen, you can play against Starvo with this card. Look, there you go. Look, you want to beat Starvo? Boom, beat Starvo. No, we have no idea.
We don't know what this card does. All right.
We have no clue.
Also, there's a playmat, and they covered up the missing Dorinthia foot with the Classic Battles logo, so you don't have to look at the missing Dorinthia foot in the artwork, which is a win.
The artwork
Although
on this Classic Battles product is pretty sweet.
It's fantastic. I love it.
Until you notice the missing
Until you notice the missing foot, in which case it's even better.
Somebody got really religious with the crop tool, or like they were like,
It's my favorite part of the product, and my favorite part is that they just leave it. And I wish that they wouldn't have covered it up on the playmat. Where's the playmat?
I'm stoked that they covered up on the playmat so I can get it and draw.
I wish they wouldn't have covered up on the playmat because that was my favorite part about the artwork. And I'm not being sarcastic. I love those Easter eggs like nobody sees until you see it. Like I love that stuff. Like I absolutely love it.
It's
like
you ruined.
It's ship it. Ship it.
Ship it.
Robo's fine.
You ruined Pry for me for that same reason. The little Easter egg that the card just looks like DM Armada.
It's not an Easter egg. That's the intention of it.
You ruined that card for me. Completely ruined. The intention was that card modeled after DM Armada?
Yeah, they didn't ask for your headshot last week?
No. But that's sweet if it was. That's awesome.
They're doing headshots of all the Flesh and Blood content creators.
Oh, I don't know if I qualify.
Not doing that. I'm just joking.
I'm just saying.
Look at your face was like, oh God, really?
No, I don't. That would be awesome. I know they're not going to use your headshot. Look at you.
Oh man, that's good.
2-0, right. Josh. What other random things are we talking about? The Classic Battles can be cool. I'm dying on the Classic Battles hill. Don't you talk bad about my Classic Battles.
I wasn't talking bad.
Don't you talk bad.
All right, I want to talk about a couple things with social media for them, for Fab.
Ooh, yes.
Because they've done some things we agree with over the last couple weeks that have been really cool. They've been sharing some, not ours, of course, but they've been sharing some content creator stuff.
Gotta wipe really the salt off your microphone.
No, that's fine. I don't expect them to, but they've been sharing content. They've been retweeting things on Twitter, which is like great.
Yeah, They've been crushing social media, in my opinion. I love the fact that they're engaging with the community. I like even beforehand, before the Pro Tour, they're like, let's get us to 10K. I was like, oh, someone's finally like monitoring this. It's someone's been given this responsibility and they're crushing it.
They retweeted Fab Rec, which is apparently a new from EDH Rec.
Oh, cool.
Like they're doing the stuff that we criticized a while ago that they weren't doing, and I think that's really cool and really good. And I'm
not saying it's all our idea, but I'm implying it.
And they're sharing, the content creators that they want to share. That's great too. So I think it's all a big win. I think they should keep doing that. So, I don't know. What do you want me to say? They're sharing people's content. That's great.
I think that's
I wish
awesome.
that they shared your content. That's what I want to do.
I wish that they shared your content. No,
that doesn't matter. They should share your content.
No, that is just we're not going to go down this rabbit hole right now. But I think it's awesome to see them more active in their community and taking a leadership role in this community. I know on their YouTube channel they posted the finals. So the final match of the Pro Tour, which is just awesome. They started a series. I wish they would announce stuff like this or have articles about this. It looks like I think they started a series about like ProQuest 2, and I don't know if it's the developer series or if it's a tight-knit community or whatever it is, but there's people playing in like a ProQuest 2 series and doing matchups and doing analysis. I wish they would give us a little bit more that they're doing that. Like I had to go on their YouTube channel and be like, oh, I must have missed this one. I want to see an announcement about that. Like, hey, this week, this is our matchup. But that's level 2. They took level 1 that we said, and they just crushed it. And I love that. And not only that, man, they engaged over Pro Tour. I mean, Pro Tour 1's the last big event we had to talk about, but even following Pro Tour 1. Pro Tour 1 didn't end, and then the Fab social media and announcement channel just fell off the face of the earth. They're staying engaged with people. People are hearing from them. People are tweeting at them. They're using hashtags for Flesh and Blood more religiously. Like it's cool. It's definitely a level up.
Yeah. I was very concerned that we were going to have the Pro Tour and then it was going to be like everyone's traveling from New Zealand back to New Zealand and they get vacation and then we're not going to see anything. We're going to be in this lull. But like even on the announcements since the last weekend, they have like 7 different posts on the the articles, which is great. So
there's something just to touch on that. Guess what? For the first time since a major event that a ton of people in my local community travel to, the event at game stores the week following actually fired. Like it had enough people.
Oh, cool.
In the past, it had always been, oh, you traveled to Indy, you come back, you got a little fatigue. No one's going to that event. People want some time off. No, man. If these things are firing, I thought maybe that's insignificant, but that was neat to me.
Yeah, that's cool. I think, I think this is a huge step forward. I wish that this step forward was announced as a new direction in Fab 2.0. It would have given a lot of confidence in that announcement to hear, hey, we are going to be rebranding on the media side. I think it's just great that they are actually doing it. The next thing, this is going to be, I think, 3 weeks in a row of my weekly ask of a James White bi-monthly, twice a month development blog for Flesh and Blood.
What if you get development blog, but you get it once a month?
I feel like he should be able to do it twice a month.
No, I'm going to Shark Tank you.
No,
Shark Tanking you.
I pre-Shark Tanked myself. I said I started off this conversation by saying it should be every week, and I already pre-Shark Tanked myself. I will negotiate. No, not negotiate. I will say 2 weeks will be fine. But like hey, here's this state of development. Here's something, an interesting quirk or an interesting thing in the life of James White. I think that the thing that people get behind in a company like this, in a game like this, is the personalities behind the game. And every time James White talks, there's a positive reaction.
Dude, every time that guy touches something in media, it's gold.
Yep. And like, I want more James White. Like, I want to see him. I want to hear from him. I want to believe in this game because of James White, not because of what the market is doing, or who's some guy buys some expensive card and shows it off. Like, I want to see like what he is doing, because that is what we bought into, is the James White and that thing. So like, that's what I want to see. This week 3. I'm gonna do it every week. I'm gonna keep asking for that until it doesn't happen, and I'm 80 years old.
What do they do? They do that online. Day 180 of photoshopping this until the celebrity retweets me or something.
Yeah, James White is the celebrity, and I'm the lame guy on Twitter. Like, that's
both. Oh my gosh, independently,
100% true. Yeah.
Huh. Look 100%. At that.
All right, moving on from random things.
Hold on, I don't want to move on yet. I got a thing to say on that, on the James White thing.
55 minutes in.
I'm just saying, do you think that James White is now moving away from this was his baby, the developer role, the main developer, and now he's realizing, hey, I got to run the ship. He seems to be making more public appearances lately. You might get what you want. It's getting more readily available.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it could also be the cycle. Like, they're in a development lull right now because...
stop talking about it. We're 55 minutes in. What do you got for me?
Okay, fine. Let's move on. No, like, I think, like, maybe he's just done developing the next set for a while. And also, maybe it's just that COVID just ended and he doesn't want to do anything online. He just wants to be in person. That seems like...
Which is sick. Again, the guy touches stuff and just turns to gold.
Yeah.
I know he wrote the "We made a mistake" announcement. After the ship it comment, he wrote the "We made a mistake" announcement. Yeah. That guy rocks.
All right, move on. TCG Player Uprising campaign. Boom. All right, done. Let's move on. No.
So James White.
All right.
Okay, so you told me about this campaign because you're a store and I'm not. So tell the people what you told me, because I have questions.
Okay, so this is one of those things that I feel like Flesh and Blood and LSS do so well, and nobody knows about it because they don't do the announcing of it, and they don't talk about it, and they don't do content on it. They don't have a development blog where they could talk about it.
They don't do a bi-monthly blog where they could explain this to you in person.
So instead, I will explain it, because I think this is one of the coolest things. Both it accomplishes two really cool things. Should I tell you what it is first? I'm going to tell you what it is first.
I want to know what it is. You told me what it is. The people need to know what this is.
For the last sets, and I didn't fully understand this until the most recent set, because I wasn't a part of it until the most recent set, and it just kind of got lost. But now they've announced the second one, or the third one. So TCG Player, basically, you guys all see it. TCG Player gets a bundle, and they sell the bundle on TCG Player. Well, part of that money, and in the past to date, TCG Player has awarded $275,000 to retailers through this campaign. It's a exclusive direct-to-consumer campaign with Legend Story Studios. And so here we have another one that essentially you have to be a certified hobby shop on TCG Player. So in order to be a certified hobby shop on TCG Player, and this is why I didn't know about this until like literally the day before Tales of Aria 1 went out, because that's when
your store is Fugazi.
No, because that's when I like learned about what a certified hobby shop was. Like, I saw a little button and I was like, why doesn't my store have that? And I sent the email, and then that's when I learned about it. Anyway, so if you are a certified hobby shop, which means that you have an actual brick and mortar and you have to get that certified from TCG Player, you get enrolled in this, you have to opt into it, and then you have to sell $1,000 worth of Flesh and Blood product, or it doesn't have to be sealed, it can be singles. You just sell $1,000 worth of Flesh and Blood cards on the website between now and whatever the cutoff date is. And if you do that, you get a check from TCG Player and LSS for doing so, which is incredible. Absolutely. There's no other campaign like this. You talk about things that are for the local game store. This is something that is inherently, there's no negative to this. This is 100% positive for the local game store. And then on top of that, the second side of this that I think is just incredible is it is also marketing. This is a reason for a local game store to say, I'm going to take Flesh and Blood and I'm going to sell product, which in turn puts more product onto the market and gets more people ordering from distribution, which all in all is a huge win. It also, again, provides more singles, it provides more stuff. So this is just it's a really big win. So hats off. Hats off to LSS for this. This is super cool. So, and to TCG Player.
So for the normal people, the non-store people like myself, it almost feels like, and when you describe this to me, the way it came across to me was, we talk about like Channel Fireball and TCG Player being able to distribute the products like a game store without being a game store, and that takes some of the special feeling out of being a game store or buying from your game store. This is almost like a tax on TCG Player. Maybe not a tax, maybe tax is the wrong word, but mathematically, let's think of it like a tax. Like if TCG Player is going to sell directly to you, which should be the local game store job, they're taking business from the local game store. So to supplement that business that they're taking, they are cutting a check to your game store that currently supports Flesh and Blood. Yeah. And that to me isn't really, when you explain that to me and you explain how it worked, I was like, wow, that's really fantastic. Why was it only TCG Player?
Well, so on top of that, I assume, and again, this is where I would love to hear from James White what this is about. Like, I would love to hear 15 minutes of a conversation with James White where he talks just about this. Forget the development blog. Like, I want him talking about it on our podcast.
Okay, so now we need 2 blogs, both bi-monthly, on alternating weeks.
No, because my assumption for this is that this is a deal that happens between LSS and TCG Player, and in the conversation, James White's like, no, I want you to make sure that you are putting Flesh and Blood on the main page of TCG Player. Have you ever gone to the main page of TCG Player and been like, holy crap, how does Dragon Ball Super get there? When you click on when everybody and their mom goes to TCG Player and I see Astral Radiance there, like, no, I want to see Uprising. I want to see Flesh and Blood there. And when Flesh and Blood has a new set comes out, you're going to see a thing that says pre-order and get our playmat. And you're going to be like, oh, there's a new game there. And I look at it. And like, this is the type of stuff that happens that we don't know about, that I would love to know about, because this shows the creativity that LSS is putting into marketing their game, the creativity that LSS is putting into organizing for the local game store. This is the stuff that I want to brag about. Like, this is the stuff that I want to talk about on my channel. I want to say, this is why I believe in this game, but we don't, like, this is why I want to hear more about it. This is like, I want to hear more about the heart behind what this thing was. I don't want to hear about it from Louis, who got an email and is just projecting what he thinks it is. I want to hear from James White all the details. I want the juicy details. I want to know about the heart behind the process. Like, I think you're so
such
cool.
A popular girl. You want all the juicy details all the time. No, you make some good points here. So more details on behind the scenes stuff is always neat. I don't know what part of this is maybe they can't discuss or disclose. I'm sure I'm not saying that it's all of it. I'm with you. You're right. I'm saying there might be some details we just never can get. But man, oh man, I didn't know about this program. And if I heard somebody say, hey, this is a program for Flesh and Blood, I would have made a video about it, because no other game that I know of, and maybe other games all do this and I don't know about it because they have equal marketing around this topic. But this is a cool way of all the times that you've talked about Flesh and Blood has been transitioning. We did the Channel Fireball videos, right? And I was very upset with them. And we talked about how it's transitioning away from the local game store. This would have been something to talk about where, hey, there is a give back to the local game store here. This would have been something positive to talk about. So it would have been really cool to hear about this. Hearing about it aside, when you told me about it, dude, I was stoked. And if you out there, if you didn't know about this, I think this is something that builds confidence in Flesh and Blood communities having the ability to pop up in other places, because all this is, and it might result in nothing. When you start your game store, you might get such a small check from it quarterly that it doesn't matter, based on set release. But what it does is it's another piece of bait on the end of a hook to try to build a community, right? It's another thing to say, hey, game store, this is why. This is an incentive. This is something you can do. This is something you can promote. This is a way we can see flesh and blood communities start popping up through the local game store, choosing interest in Fab from their distributor, right? So I think that's a really cool opportunity, and sign that up again at the same time with Classic Battles. You've got a lot of stuff going on for you. It's just, can you make it all work?
So I want to highlight one thing. Currently, there are 68 listings for Everfest boxes. If you go to any individual card on TCG Player, there's between 50 and 100 listings for that card. So let's assume that there are 200 stores on TCG Player selling cards. Now, a lot of those stores are not going to be certified hobby shops. A lot of them are going to be I'm looking at you, selling cards on TCG Player. You're not a certified hobby shop. You don't qualify for this. I'm guessing the average store of this is going to get over $1,000 from this program, which is that's incredible. Yeah. For a local game store, that is a lot. For me, that's a lot of money. For me, as a local game store, that's a lot of money. Like, we're not talking about like a $20 check or a $30 check or something like that. We're talking about a considerable amount of money.
Yeah.
And you kind of like said, why can't we see other stores what other things do this? Like, in other words, why didn't Channel Fireball do this? I don't think Channel Fireball wants to do this. I think this is a TCG Player probably wouldn't have naturally sold boxes of. They don't do that. You can't, go to TCG Player and buy a new Magic box from TCG Player. But my gut says that James White said, hey, here's a really cool idea. I'm going to go on and I'm going to ask TCG Player, this is an idea. Will you guys do this? And they said, yeah, this is what we need per box to cover our costs or to make some profit on shipping it out and hiring the team to, they have TCG Player Direct. So they have a warehouse and they have the ability to do it. This is the cost. Okay, boxes, so we can take a minimal profit and we can put all the other money. Yeah, seems like a win-win for everybody. And so, like, this is the type of innovative idea that I want to see talked about. Like, I want to see this. Like, this is gold. This is cool. Is so good. It is so incredible.
I do want to point out, you're probably in the minority of people who want to hear it talked about. You and me both. Like, I think the average member of the community will look at this, they'll see the bullet point, they'll listen to it on this podcast, and they'll think that's neat. But it will be very in one ear and out the other, and they'll forget about it in the future. Completely it's the game store owners that this is going to stick with. Yeah. It's the people who have game stores, the people who have influence or pull at their local game store with trying to convince the people running that establishment to carry different games that it needs to resonate with. And I think this is a great program. I think it needs to be out there. It needs to hit the ears of every person, so those people who need and want this information can choose to consume it, hold on to it, and give it up to the game store. But I think for the average player, this would be in one ear and out the other. What it's going to do for the average players is it's going to grow the game. It's going to grow the game. So it's a direct advantage to the average player, even if them hearing the news doesn't shatter their existence or change their life, because maybe they don't track it like you and I do, right? They just play the game.
I hear what you're saying. I completely disagree with you.
Oh, good. I wanted to make sure.
Let me reaction phase to that. Ooh, look, I plugged our own thing.
Why were your hands upside down when you were doing it?
This is my reaction phase hands. Oh, okay. Why do you think that the number one video in my last 30 days by 2x is the video complaining about Channel Fireball selling product cheaper to other people? What is this? Your camera's about to die?
No, it's just your plug.
Oh. I'm not plugging. Like, why do you think that the video that I do, the one that got the most views, most interactions, most likes, most comments, the video on my channel in the last 30 days as a mostly flesh and blood channel that got 50% flesh and blood channel, as a channel that loves flesh and blood, damn it. Why do you think that video resonated so much with our community?
I think it was a hot button topic. I think it still is a hot button topic. And I think it was a culmination of a lot of feelings over the course of time. So I think this is different than the channel fire. This isn't something that is the hot button topic of the community that's being smacked in their face every day via ads, right? I don't think this is equivalent. But you're fighting back.
Let me push back. Let me push back. I want to fight you.
Sure.
Let me push back then.
Okay.
I think that the reason that video was so popular in our community and why it resonated and why it kicked off a multitude of other content creators talking about the subject is because the community of Flesh and Blood started and rallied behind the idea that a game company wants to see the local game store succeed and wants to do the things that are necessary for the local game store to succeed. And they rally behind that idea. They rally behind the idea that the local game store is important. Meanwhile, you've got Magic the Gathering that is doing everything in their power. You just see that they added another SKU with Dominaria Jumpstart boxes. There's now 4 billion SKUs that you have to order. You have to have they're selling direct to Amazon. The reason that people cared about that video, in my opinion, is because our community at a deep level was originally built upon this idea that LSS stands for the local game store and that the whole channel fireball bullcrap is all so counterproductive to that goal, and that's why people were frustrated for it. And so if you see something like this, on the other hand, that is so good for the local game store, so good for the store that actually believes in Flesh and Blood, that's willing to carry it, that's willing to promote it, that's willing to buy the game, that's willing to sell the product, that is something that our community will continuously rally behind. That's why I see it. That's why I want to see more of it. That's why I think the community will care about it. That's why I said we should talk about it on the podcast, because I think that people will see that and say, yes, LSS is doing what they say they're doing. Yes, LSS does care about the local game store, and I care about that, and that's why I like Flesh and Blood. The game's great. Sure. Really, really great game. We all know that it's not just about being a great game. You have to have something more than that. We all know that. The something more than that for Flesh and Blood is that the game company cares about the local game store.
Okay. So I have to toe this carefully. Because I agree with you. That statement you just made right there, that it's important that a game company cares about the local game store. That's important. Nothing I say should be taken as a way to discredit that. That's extremely important. But I don't think your average if you were to take 100 Flesh and Blood players, I don't think, if not prompted, those Flesh and Blood players would be like, hey, why do you love Flesh and Blood? I need the top 2 reasons you love Flesh and Blood. I don't think that would be in their top 2. And I say that saying, again, it's important because if it doesn't happen, your local community doesn't exist. If your local community doesn't exist, there's nowhere to play the game and the game dies. It is literally it might be the most important aspect of the game. Because even if a game sucks, but people still gather and play it, the game gets to live on forever. So even if the game is terrible, it gets to do that. But I don't see the same, and this is kind of our cool different perspectives. I don't see the community saying this is one of my top 2. Why do I love Flesh and Blood? It's because they support the local game store. Gosh darn it. I think what's important is the people that are building these communities. Your community, the people that come to your store and play Flesh and Blood, are there because that message resonates with you and you're willing to go above and beyond and do the work to make this happen. So that message is meant for and crucial and important to you, to min-max games, right? That message is important to them. But to the average player,
I don't have a plug for you, but there you go. There's my imaginary plug.
For you?
For next games.
Oh, shut up. You did a whole interview with Peter after I did an interview with Peter, because I did it first, because
you're right. You're the first person that's ever interviewed somebody else on a channel. Congratulations. You set a whole precedent of new stuff.
Thank you.
I can't imagine the content that's going to come out.
You know, I gotta tell you, but I think it's important for there, and information like that has to go to people like you because we rely on people like you to sustain and build these communities. I just think you overestimate the importance of that information reaching the ears of your average player.
That's fair. I also project a lot. And like when you come into my store and you look at it on my shelf, you walk in my door and the counters here, and
there's a lot of ownership going on here. I feel very shut out. My store and my door and my carpet.
When you walk,
breathe my air.
Your eyes go to the counter, and the counter has only new TCGs on it. The magic is like behind you. Like you're walking in, you're looking at the magic's over here on the right side.
Because if you're there for magic, you're gonna find it. You know what you want.
So people say, "What is that game?" And whenever they do, this is where I'm projecting. Whenever they look at Flesh and Blood, you know what the first thing I tell them is?
Great for the local game store.
This is a new game that's really trying to work with the local game store. That's literally the conversation I start with.
It seems like it's, and maybe this is why you're better than me, because that is not the sales pitch I would use. If someone was like, "Hey, give me one line about Flesh and Blood," I would not mention the local game store.
I quickly get into this is a new game that cares a ton about the local game store and playing in person. There's no online client, but the gameplay is incredible. I pull out a card and I show them the pitch thing. Like within the first 30 seconds, though, you hear this game cares about the local game store. That's my sales pitch. That's probably I would say more. Again, the game's great. The game's going to play for itself.
Pitch. This game cares about me. You should buy it,
dude. My point is that's why I started playing the game. That's why I started buying the boxes. I cared about my buddy.
I agree with you. I just think you're in the minority. I think you're in the minority there. That's not why most people start playing the game, but it's a crucially important aspect of the game. I'm not underplaying that. I'm underplaying the notion that that's why most people start playing Flesh and Blood.
That's fair. Okay. Great discussion. This is great. I don't care if this is a good podcast or not. This was a fantastic conversation between you and I.
That was a good conversation. I like when we can come from different perspectives, because I've never been the guy behind the game store clerk as far as Flesh and Blood's concerned. I just haven't. I've been the community guy.
I got a guy that came in this week. He traded in, I hope he's listening. He traded in thousands of dollars worth of Pokemon cards. Sold them. Sorry, he didn't trade in. He needed cash. I like tons of Pokemon cards, like vintage Pokemon cards, which is dangerous for me as a store to buy because I don't want to sell them. Anyway,
it's also dangerous for you as a human after our conversation today. You're like an amoeba soaking in as much vintage Pokemon as you can come across.
Anyway, he had played not professional. He had played Pokemon circuits growing up, and he kind of said, I just kind of fell away from it as got too busy, and he's like really into the competitive scene. I was like, this is the conversation I had with him about Flesh and Blood. He was like, what's that game? And I showed him that exact conversation. That weekend was the Pro Tour weekend. And I said, hey man, make sure you're if you care about the competitive side, make sure you watch this weekend. I sent him the link to Channel Fireballs. I should have sent him your link on your channel. Dang it.
No, it's fine, dude. It's fine, dude. It's fine.
He texted me and he was like, man, I'm watching the game. It looks really cool. I can't wait to play. And he's coming in this week and we're gonna teach him how to play it.
That's pretty sick, dude.
Yeah, it's just cool. That's where I go with that conversation. Anyway,
okay, hold on. I want to touch on something on the market.
All right, the market.
Let's do market, and it could be pretty quick. I just want to get your take on this. Cold foil Heart of Findel is currently worth $6,000. Hold on, I know this. I have this information. I have it. Is it good information? Don't laugh at me. I very rarely bring something to the market.
Where did you get that from? It's sold on the one that's sold on Facebook?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, sure. I guess if you want to look at last sold, so it was Australian.
This is why I suck at the market. I'm going to stop you. I'm stopping you already because I suck at the market. If the only one to sell sold for this much,
I would say that
you look like you're to lecture me.
It is certainly a question of. I think that price point's certainly low. I think that person who sold it more than likely left some money on the table. But if you would have put the Heart of Fandel up for 8,000 or 9,000, it could still be there. I
I don't remember I'm trying to remember. I don't remember. Was the condition okay?
It's a 9. It was a 9. It was a PCG, so Channel Fireballs Grading Company.
Okay. Sure.
9. It was put
so we
up
are talking about the same
like
one.
like 8 or 9,000 Australian dollars. It evened out to around 6,000 American freedom dollars. I don't know if Australia is a free country or not, but I do know that USA is a free country. Is it July 4th yet? It feels like
this went there. I hope we have a podcast on July 4th. So I agree. And as someone who trades, so little insight into my life that people don't know is I work on and then sell and buy classic cards as well. I got a 69 Impala in the garage. I got a 66 Thunderbird in the garage right now. And I this is something I do as a hobby because I really enjoy it. And I love that experience. You're
cooler than me. Now I know why.
Well, I could have told you that. This is duh. But
can you change the carburetor out on my my power washer?
I won't. But I sure will.
I'll show up in Chicago
if you live at the content house. That's a different story. But when I sell a car, I just hit my microphone. That was really loud. If I sell a car for $10,000, that's what that car is worth at that moment, because the market on cars, especially as everyone should know right now, fluctuates. It goes up, it goes down. Classic cars, as the economy booms, classic cars go up because people they can afford those things. As the economy shrinks, people are like, I can't afford that. So how does the fab market, and you do the market every week, and this is something I don't understand, how is that not the market? Like, this is just right now in my mind, this is the price of a cold foil hard to find out. So in that condition, this is what I would offer. If someone's like, you should buy one, I'd be like, well, this is what they're selling for. This is what I'm offering you.
So I got a lot of slack for reporting the I think it was a $6,000 sale of Eye of Ophidia that was on eBay. I can't remember exactly what it was. Can't remember how much the price was. I got a lot of slack for that. Basically, everybody said the condition wasn't good. They said the bids were, whatever. Like, you get a lot of slack for that.
You've told me about the sale. I know the sale. Okay, sorry. Go ahead.
But what that does, there is a group of people in the world that care about Flesh and Blood, right? That group is big. It's a big group, right? I don't know how many people there are. That's the big group. That's everybody that's ever bought a card. Then there is a smaller group that is the group that is on Facebook, or the group that watches YouTube content, or the group that watches, that listens to Flesh and Blood podcasts, or the group that is whatever. And this group obviously is more in tune with the market than this group. This group has less money though than this group. So when a card sells on eBay for $10,000, let's just use a number, this group is going to see that sold listing and be like, oh, that's the most recent sold. If you go anywhere and you're price checking, or if you are, eBay is going to be the thing that's used. This group's like, no, in private auctions or in private, behind closed doors, this is selling for this, that, or the other thing, whether it's higher or lower. So I tend to say that things that sell on the open market are going to affect the price in a much deeper way. So this card, the Heart of Fiendel that was on Facebook that sold for $6,000, I think it sold in 30 minutes, 40 minutes, 50 minutes. I don't know. By the time I knew about it, it was sold. So like, again, I think like, yes, that's the last sold listing, but I'm guessing some money was probably left on the table that if they would have put up hey, I'm selling a Heart of Fiendel, asking $12,000 or best offer, they probably would have gotten some offers. Now, what we do know publicly recently, there has been a BGS 9.5 heart that sold for $17,000. So typically in Flesh and Blood, now there was also a 9.5 B++. Now we're in the thick of it, that sold for $34,000. So both were 9
plus means, but I trust you.
9.5 was a basic, meaning it was like I think it had a 9, and 2 9.5. So the subgrades.
Okay.
A 9.5 basic plus, I believe it had a 9.5, 2 10s, and a 9. I believe it did. Don't quote me on that.
Oh, okay.
But
so
the plus
is indicating the 2 perfect grade. Yeah. Okay.
Sense. This one was the top 4. There's only 3 cards above it in BGS. So it's a top population top 4.
Okay.
So that's some people say that $17,000 sale, I couldn't bid on it. I was trying to bid and it didn't take my bid. It's like the only world, and it's the only trading card game in the world where people make bids and they don't go through. I have no clue.
But
people
this is an interesting. Okay, so I want to give you my thoughts here, because this is why I talk to you about this stuff, because this is something you understand far more than me. So this heart now, after you giving me those figures, feels more like a steal, right?
So
and
typically in Flesh and Blood, it would be about half the value of a 9.5 would be a raw or a 9. There's usually no premium for a BGS 9. Probably, and I would say certainly, in my opinion, now this is my opinion, but based on a lot of the market research, there's no premium for a PG for Channel Fireball's grading company. There's just not a premium there.
Yeah, I don't know what it is either. Okay,
but even so BGS 9, there's not really a premium.
Sure. So BGS 9 and maybe raw or BGS 9, what you just indicated, going for half of sale price. There's one that went for 17.5, half of sale price being slightly less than 9.
Yeah,
right.
I'd say 8,500 would be where.
And you said this, and if this auction closed out in 30 minutes, which again, I don't have the details.
It was just somebody posted it.
Oh, if this sale closed out in 30 minutes, and I shout out to the person asked to remain anonymous who told me about this, so I'm not allowed to tell you who they are. But
I mean, it was on Facebook.
I didn't have. Yeah, but I don't monitor the market enough to actually bring it to my own attention.
Gotcha.
They were like, "Oh, you got to have something for the market." But so this could have just been like a quick sale, got to sell it now, cash in hand. And again, leaning into cars again, just because that's what I know. I've done that. You can buy an $8,000 car, which is what this would be, with $6,000 in cash all day long if there's not a ton of interest and the person is ready to let it go. So instead of me thinking, okay, this is just the norm, we could have had one of those situations. Okay. That's fascinating that this can go that route. I've done this with cars, but now just articulating it with you and the numbers the figures are so similar. That's just fascinating.
I think for me, the more significant side of a sale like this is looking at the people who I don't know who bought it. I can make a lot of assumptions on who bought it via who the last person to send a PM was, and then it was marked as sold. I can make a lot of assumptions. Maybe I shouldn't, but based on the assumptions, it seems like the people who were interested in this were people who probably already had a heart or multiple hearts. Now,
so it's not new fish.
There's going to be a lot of people who say, I would buy a $6,000 heart. That being said, the number of people who have $6,000 tomorrow to purchase a heart, if this is the people who are interested in Flesh and Blood, this is the people that are on Facebook, $6,000 is a lot of money.
That is a non-insignificant amount of money.
I was listening to somebody talk about finances today, and they made the point that that 50% of the people in the room didn't have the money. If they had a $400 emergency, they wouldn't have the $400 to come up with to pay for the emergency.
I feel that on a spiritual level.
like that is the average, like typical Americans don't have that capital for a $400 emergency.
Right. So the number of people interested, then compounded by the number of people that actually have it available, could also hurt the price. Because like I said, it's not only people who want it, but it's people who are, hey, asking, can I buy it, and giving out a price, right? So actually willing to sign the check and write away that money.
I feel like a more realistic price for a heart right now is probably somewhere between $8,000 and $9,000. That's why I say this person probably, in my opinion, left $2,000 on the table. And that is based on, historically, we've seen like around a 4x multiplier from the sealed product, which is currently Alpha Box, I don't know, an Arcane and Alpha Box just sold for like $4,100 or $4,200. I don't remember the exact number on eBay, which is not significant amount of money in terms of like
I get
where we were.
so hot when you start talking market with me. It's insane. Like
I would say
right
what's an Alpha Box worth right now? $3,000, $2,500. I don't know. It depends on do you care about closed door stuff? eBay, a bundle deal with an ARC box. Who knows?
If you can't care about closed door stuff, if you mentioned this closed door community, if you're not in the closed door community, you can't care about closed door stuff because that information is not available to you. Me, if I were to go to buy an Alpha Box, I would not have the privilege of closed door information. I would do exactly what we just talked about. I'd go to eBay, I go to TCG Player, and I'd see what prices are, and then I'd try to get a good deal because that's, again, the cars, that's my nature. So we never do this deep of a dive on the market. It's fascinating to figure out, like, there's just that many levels to it. And does this ever just wear you out? Because sometimes building a million decks wears me just thin. I'm just so tired. Does this ever just wear you out?
I'm sure you have this when you build a deck and people are like, that's a stupid inclusion. You're an idiot. Like,
oh God, yeah. Have you been to the internet? What? Welcome to the internet.
When I share a public sale, and people call me an idiot, I just don't know what to do with it. Because
here's the difference. Here's the difference. Mine is arbitrary, and it's a choice that's made in a giant pool of things. It's not like you're noting down actual fact or something that happened. So anyway. I think I'm correct. I think you're incorrect, but that's been the market. I'm excited for Uprising. I can't wait. I'm stoked for Uprising. I think it's going to shift the market to the moon.
I don't know why
my Rudy Monarch
shift the market. There's
shift the whole market.
All right, we don't have time to get into this, but the market's not going to shift until the world cleans up whatever the heck is going on with the market.
I dabbled in the market. I talked about the 10 cards that you should own with Uprising coming out.
Cool.
Yeah, I dabbled in the market, and my Rudy box came in. I'm basically a market guy. All between those two things.
What, your Monarch apology box?
Yeah,
I didn't buy one. He got me. I was gonna buy Monarch Unlimited from him because it was like $6 for a case of Monarch Unlimited. And I was like, oh, that's great. But then in the message, it was like, what did he say in the message? He was like, some patrons are choosing to not do this because they
they feel that I didn't do anything wrong.
I was like, yeah.
Oh,
Rudy.
crap. Did I just put myself on Rudy's hit list? I didn't mean to. I just bought your sale, man. I'm sorry.
I was like, dude, when I bought my Monarch, I thought I was happy with it. So like I didn't buy
I was too. I mean, I was wrong, but I was happy with it.
And then I don't know. I don't care. Like I look at Rudy as like I don't know. I just want to support his content because I like the guy. So I know that puts me in a pile of people, but that's fine. Anyway,
I asked him a question. He sent me a really nice message once, so I'm simping forever. That's it. I'm good.
I've had some really great conversations with Rudy.
Oh, I don't have that privilege.
Yeah.
Isn't he huge?
I think he's huge. Really. I want to battle content idea. Look at that face. I want a Josh versus Rudy cage match. I get to be the referee.
Oh, dude, Rudy's going down. No offense, but
Rudy, you heard it right here. Can we put money on it? Isn't this how this works?
Much money.
All right, I'll put
so much money.
I'll put $5,000 into the prize pool.
Sure. That's
Rudy,
whatever you put in the prize pool, I'm going home with.
This is sponsored by I know Peter will do this. This is sponsored by Min-Max Games.
Peter would sponsor a Josh v. Rudy cage match 100%.
Yeah.
The only thing is I might take a dive just out of respect. Like, you know how you walk in, you kiss the Godfather's ring and stuff like that? I'd be hitting him or like wrestling him or choking him out or hugging him and cuddling him essentially and not letting him go. And then I'd feel bad about it.
Rudy's probably more of a peaceful guy than you.
Totally true. I'm way more of a jerk than Rudy. Rudy's so much nicer. Everyone craps on Rudy and no one craps on me. He's so much nicer of a human than me.
Okay. Anything else we're talking about?
think we're talking about how you guys as viewers are awesome, and thank you so much for hanging out and chatting with us every week. This has been a blast, man. I love chatting. I love chatting with you guys. Let us know in the comments what you think of this week's episode. It's been a fun time. We got some good stuff planned this week, I'm sure. Do you want to plug anything before we go?
I have no clue what my content looks like this week.
Me neither. Let's go.
I never know what my content's going to look like.
Me neither. Let's go.
So, yes, we'll have market updates. I know that. The other content is whatever I feel like doing at any point in the time when I sit down.
Sometimes the content be hitting different, yo.
Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. We appreciate you. Make sure you hit subscribe, hit the like button, share this podcast on all those million social media networks if you believe in it. Thank you guys so much for watching. Remember, be kind to the people around you. We'll see you again next video.